Hello everybody, yes, I can't believe it myself. We are in a lobby, like a real game with players and casters and heroes that you ban and pick. Unbelievable. It is 10 PM here in Europe and the CET time zone. We are by now 2.5 hours behind. I mean, not that this is surprising, we had such a delay on the DreamHack. Even DreamHack Bucharest and Valencia, like, it's not very unusual that like LAN events have delays, but mostly it's like a valid reason. Here apparently it was that the players, they don't have their individual computer setup, which means each and every time a team is changing, they have to go and install their stuff. Either way, as promised, I always have a co-caster here for this night, and it is this time Mr. Grandis V who's gonna stay for 1, 2, 3 games, maybe, if he can endure the waiting time. We are HeflaTV here, my name is HeflaMoke. You are seeing the Brazil game, cup, game, show, whatever. It's a $25K tournament, and we have the THD, the house is down, against Keed, or Vibra Keed Stars.
I have never seen the Radiant team actually play, but to start us off in this draft, the house is down. Found the Wisp Nature's Prophet, Death Prophet Lich, and the first two for the house is down is Centaur Warner and Meepo. And Vivo Fibra Keed Stars are going to pick up Scarith Mage and Terrorblade, but Jubilu Meepo is something that's always very fun to watch.
You know what's really funny? In the first game, we had pretty much everything that's new in 6.82 was completely banned out right away. Like, no Terrorblade, no Meepo. I mean, it's not like it's new and everything, but no Legion Commander. So everything that would have been like fun or like something where we would be like, oh my god, wow, they picked that, that's like gonna be an amazing game. So it was relatively boring, as in for the draft, but then the game was amazing. This time though, we have a Meepo, second pick, and the Terrorblade on the other side. Then again, Terrorblade Radiant side at the moment is very weak. The Dire side actually has much better statistics, so I'm looking forward to this, how this is gonna be for Keed. Have you actually seen Keed, the team, yet?
Nope, never. I am not very familiar with these names either. Tavo is a name that's familiar. I think he played with CNB at one point, but other than that, this is completely new for me.
Yep. I have to say though, like Bardo and Tavo, like those two I've actually seen, and also K3 as a stand-in somewhere, but that's pretty much it. Like YCS and Gambling, I've never seen those guys before, but then again, I'm also not very deep into the Brazilian scenes or the South American scene as such. I have to admit it, like HeflaTV, the majority of our content comes from Europe, CIS, and sometimes some US and South American stuff, but mostly just from the JDL or some smaller assignments or when we help out or go for a specific event. And now we are having a specific event. Unfortunately, we are of course not in Brazil. If I was in Brazil, or if we were in Brazil, we would give you a proper live feed of the LAN event as such, but not even the Brazilian stream has a proper live feed, so it's kinda a bit #production value. It's kinda sad that this is not happening, but if this tournament goes next year, for example, much bigger or anything like that, if we get an invite, then I will make sure we have a proper setup, proper stream with live feed, maybe even an English translator, stuff like that. I already said it 1,000 times in the lobby. That's definitely gonna be happening. Either way, let's just stop talking about all this stuff and go back to the game. Nothing really changed except for the second bun stage being through.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much a no-brainer Earthshaker pick for, I don't know, what do they prefer to be called? Keed, I suppose, is what they're called in the...
Keed is the short version everywhere in the tickers, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I think this is pretty much a no-brainer Earthshaker pick. Obviously very good against the Meepo, very good with the Scarith Mage, and honestly, even without the Meepo, already an amazing support. So I think that's probably where they're going to go. But honestly, if they're taking this much time, they might not be going for the Earthshaker, because if they were, I would have thought that this would be a pretty easy pick for them.
Yep. I don't even know why they hesitate. I mean, the Earthshaker as such is a very popular pick, but not going for it is very interesting. But even now with the Sand King, theoretically you could still go for Earthshaker, make it a double stun combination. That would be the death to the Meepo. Like, in so many ways. Like, do plus the Acro Slam It would be amazing. They go for Doodoo plus the Ravage. Okay, also very strong ultimates.
Yeah,
I would have
not to
preferred the
mention.
Earthshaker.
Yeah, I would have too. Not to mention the Anchor Smash on Meepo is really good at stopping a good majority of his damage. After Poof falls off, that becomes a pretty big problem for Meepo, because he does have to get up in your face in order to do that damage. You'll be able to get that off pretty reliably. The house is down. It feels like they don't care at all what the enemy team is picking. They're just kind of in their own little world. They have a Centaur, Meepo, Brewmaster. The Silencer kind of feels like a little bit of response to the Sand King and Tidehunter, but even then, not really. Like, it feels like the houses down are just like, okay, so we're going to play Meepo this game, we're going to play Brewmaster, and what are you going to do about it? They have really good players, but honestly, their draft feels a little bit weird. Despite the Sand King being in place of the Earthshaker, I'm still inclined to like Keed's lineup a little bit better.
Yep, absolutely. Like, I mean, THD, they have a plan. And I mean, this Meepo is now protected, not just by a Brewmaster doing a lot of CC. I mean, obviously this Brewmaster is gonna go in. We have a Tidehunter being thrown into the air by the tornado, as well as a Sand King potentially. We have a Silencer. So, you know, when we compare the Earthshaker and the Sand King, I actually like the Sand King now a bit more, now that we see the Silencer. Simply for the fact that Earthshaker does not farm as well as a Sand King, because a Sand King can go anywhere and just do Sandstorm, and that's pretty much it. Like, he farms waves, he farms jungle, and that makes him, like, yeah, puts him closer to a BKB potentially. While Earthshaker had a lot of problems doing that. So this Sand King needs a BKB sooner or later, because otherwise THD will just pop the silence, Meepo will race through one or two of the supports, maybe even the Tidehunter and the Sand King, or Skyrath Mage and Sand King, something like that, and then there's only the Ravage after the silence left, and that's really bad news. Talking about AoE, the Timbersaw of course is also a nice approach. Then again, also a hero that is so cast dependent.
Yeah, Timbersaw eventually will probably get a BKB, but it's going to take quite a long time before we actually see that item for the Timbersaw. And ideally, he doesn't have to go for the BKB, and instead can go for the Bloodstone and Ags. But this game, he might be forced into getting that as his first or second item, just to make sure that he's able to get off that burst damage inside the team fights. They have a decent amount of lockdown for the Timbersaw. Centaur Warner, Hoofstomp, as well as the Silencer Global are going to be really annoying. Not to mention the Brewmaster CC in his ultimate, where he just throws him up in the air, and he can ignore the Timbersaw throughout the majority of the team fights. I don't know, Timbersaw in theory can do a lot of damage, but it's going to rely very heavily on the Blink Daggers coming out from the Sand King and the Tidehunter setting up so that Timbersaw is actually able to jump in.
Yep, absolutely. So, I don't know, I think like later this game, when we go for such a long game like Isurus versus Union Gaming, like BKBs is gonna be the key for Keed. And, well, let's see what's coming out for THD. They definitely need another support, unless we have some Meepo support approach, but I doubt that very much.
Yeah, I do too.
There it is. Yeah,
yep.
Vengeful.
Yeah, no big surprises. Roshan is going to be very easy for the houses down to take, especially once Meepo gets his Aghanim Scepter. Vengeful Spirit Meepo can pretty much do that on their own, and at a pretty good pace as well. Silencer, it looks like it's going to be a support Silencer this game. I absolutely hate support Silencer, but then again, if you're able to get to level 6, he's still going to have that global silence, which is going to be really annoying for Keed to work with. I don't know, it's still okay. But I'm not sure they're going to be able to get very many kills. Eventually, Meepo is going to be able to farm the jungle and the rest of the map and potentially leave Silencer a little bit of room in the safe lane, but at least at the early portions of the game, Laposa is going to do little to nothing.
Yep, absolutely. And now we're gonna introduce the guys here to you. We have, never forget, Jubilo is playing the center, Liposa on the silencer, Jui on, like, can I pronounce this Jui? Jui? Gui?
I've been calling it GUI. Yeah, GUI.
GUI. Let's say GUI, right? Okay, GUI on the Vengeful Spirit, and Yuka on the Brewmaster, and Vestios, the easiest name, on the Mappo. By the way, this Mappo, look at the goggles.
Yep, the
they're looking
fanatics.
so funny.
They're pretty ridiculous. It's actually really weird to see Jubilu not playing on the Meepo, but both Jubilu and Vestius have a pretty mean Meepo. On the Radiant side, it is going to be K-Stars, or Keed as they're known on all of the tickers, with Tavo playing in the offlane Tidehunter. Mid, the Timbersaw, is going to be handled by YCS, and the safe lane Tri-Lane is going to be the supports. Bardo playing on the Skyrath Mage, gambling on the Sand King, leaving the safe lane Farmer to be HFNK3 on the Terrorblade.
Is that like funky? H funky? Like
Maybe.
some sort of funky, like the last one could be. I don't know. Like that's guessing. As I said, for me, Keed is a complete new team. Like they don't play even in the small tournaments like JDL or something like that. Anyway, the Tidehunter. Oh, the center actually could have made something happening, I think, here. With a nicely timed two-storm and a Vengeful Spirit follow-up, a Meepo net. That might have been interesting, but apparently, yep, he's asking for a second. I guess they were not done with their PC setups. You read that in the lobby, right? That was the main reason for the delay of the second game, that the teams... monitor problem, okay. The teams didn't have their like individual setups, whatever programs they use, scripts, I don't know. They didn't have that all installed because THD was actually the only team that has been in that preparation meeting they had or something. So yeah, the first delay was because the doors of the big game arena there was somehow still closed, and the second reason was, yeah, the setup of the players, and now we have a monitor problem. Earlier we had also a PC problem, but let's see. Yeah. I'm optimistic.
I'm not so optimistic. The curse continues for American Dota. It always seems that there's something wrong.
South American Dota. Yeah,
in particular. It seems that, I don't know, it's very peculiar to see THD go for a 5-man rotation without smoking up. They might be wasting quite a bit of time, potentially missing a little bit of their block, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to get any kills. I don't think Taba is going to show his face up here anymore, despite having the ward. I don't think he's going to go ahead and place it. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, this Meepo, you know of what these Meepo like really remind me? This is like the Evox Star Wars, like with those goggles. Pretty much.
I can see that, yeah.
I definitely like it, and this is like a rocket. What is that? Like on the background? No, this is like some ore processing backpack, right? I'm trying to figure out what that is, but it's kind of funny. How's that set called anyway?
It's
the Crystal
Fnatic
Scavenger. Ah, the Fnatic set. Okay, so it's Big Daddy's legacy, pretty much here. Either way, we are going in the game. 0-0-0. That's where it is. We have Illusion Rune bottom. That's going to be picked up probably by the Scarif Mage, simply because his range can do more harass, obviously, on the center. Top, we had the Bounty Rune, and it went to Mr. Mappo. Mr. Mappo got it, so he got that like 1 creep value Bounty Rune, and of course a tiny bit gold. The first one is not really worth it, but sure, it's an advantage you can secure.
I've actually seen THD do this lane before. It is going to be a support Meepo that abuses the jungle. It's going to be a farming silencer. Yeah, Meepo needs his level 3, but actually he's going to be more impactful than the silencer would, as far as being a support is concerned. Getting that level 3 is going to be a little bit problematic, at least for his early levels. He's going to be pulling, and it's going to delay his impact, but after that, it's going to pretty much transition into a full-on carry. It's a greedy way of playing, but I definitely think they get away with it. We are going to see Tabo eat a magic missile up in top, but they can't do enough damage to him.
Yep, not really. I mean, he doesn't have Kraken Shell yet, but he has Anchor Smash. I mean, the Silencer can properly dodge it. The Vengeful Spirit, the range is so low most of the time that you really can't do it. But yeah, Titana trying to eat through here. He's trying to get some experience of those neutrals, obviously. He has to be properly in range though for it, but at the moment... Oop, where did I click? Wow, that was minimap. No, at the moment they're stoning him out properly, but he still has the angle when he goes into the river line.
Tidehunter is holding on to quite a bit of regen. Unlike his counterpart, who went for boots first, the Centaur is going to take a whole bucket load of harass from the Skyeth Mage, just unloading more or less his entire mana pool into Jubilu here. He still has a little bit more, as he started with a bunch of clarities, but this Centaur is getting very little to nothing. He got a decent amount of experience for the first wave, a little bit more than the Tidehunter, but that's about it. Now after this wave pushes under Tidehunter's tower, he's going to get a little bit of lead. He's magic missile again, it's going to eat the last word, net going to miss, and that will secure Tavo's retreat.
That was actually quite interesting. With that net hitting, they might have had a chance to actually right-click him down, but yeah. Good for the Titan that the creep wave just came in and soaked that net up. In the mid we have actually the Timbersaw driving out the Panda quite decently. He has 2 shared tangos, but got rid of one of them. Maybe he's using the other one right now just to make space in inventory, I don't know, but yeah, the Brewmaster came along, killed, destroyed the share tango, just making sure that Timbersaw, who has anyway nice reaction, like reactive armor regeneration, is not getting even more.
Yep, it's actually going to be the Centaur that draws first blood, and it's just an Arcane Bolt that chases him down. Looks like he just took a little too much harass. They started with the Burrow Strike and were just able to chase him down with that little bit of extra damage. Yeah, it's not a...
Just saw the corpse disappearing in the ground. That was really fast, like he probably got some harass damage before. Missed that.
Yep. I wasn't expecting Centaur to die. I thought he'd play more defensively, but Jubilee just trying to get a little bit too much out of this lane is going to be punished for it. Tidehunter is being a nuisance to these two supports. Vestia is getting closer to his level 3, and that's when this Meepo can actually start doing something. Right now, he's completely on jungle duty. He doesn't have any stacks up inside the larger camps inside his own jungle, which is unfortunate for Vestia's, as that's one of the better places for Meepo to get his farm, especially once you get a couple more levels into Poof.
Yep. I mean, here on this Dire offlane, it got so much harder because if they dive you, you see where the Skyriff Mage is at the moment. I mean, like, it's so much easier to actually, like, circle around and then get something done. In the mid, though, we have actually quite a nice little brawl, but there is the Vengeful Spirit. She's coming too late. She's also not smoked up, so, yeah, the Timbersaw is gonna make it out. He is still just 1 point in reactive armor, so if he loses that stack, yeah, he has to use something, and it is... Yeah, bottle plus self, and now he's heading towards that rune. But oh, maybe that rune is going to be guarded by the Vengeful Spirit. No, I don't think so. He's going to get it. It's a bounty rune, and there won't be a magic missile. So that's pretty much it. And Skyriff Mage, again, finds an illusion rune.
Yeah. It's not a great game to be the Vengeful Spirit here. They do have level 3 on Vestius now, so they can make some rotations happen. The smoke is available, or... is flying out to the Vengeful Spirit. So once they have that, they might be able to make some rotations. And speaking of smokes, K-Star is also potentially considering it, as they do pick up one for gambling as well. Scarth Mage and Sand King, although they're definitely adept at zoning out the Centaur, Terrorblade can handle this lane pretty effectively 1v1, especially with the start that he's had.
Yep. And I anyway like what they do, like this approach of THD, the way they play, they get maybe a triple core through. I mean, you have a Brewmaster in the mid obviously farming, you have a Silencer farming, and he's doing quite well at the moment. He's 21-11, and well, he's only on number 3 there, because Terrorblade is doing very well. But still, with the Meepos farming at the same time, the longer this game goes, the better it will be for THD, I have the impression. Because in the end, it's gonna be a Terrorblade plus utility heroes around him, and on the other side, you will have a properly farmed Brewmaster, a Silencer who's not just be there for silences, he's also gonna do right clicks properly, and a Mappo who's gonna be more and more dangerous every minute that game goes.
Yeah. At least for now, it is going to be... K-Star is being fairly comfortable with how the state of the game is progressing. But if this Meepo does get off of the ground and he does pick up the Aghanim Scepter Blink and what have you, this could be problematic for K-Stars. So there is going to be a window where their Terrorblade has his core items a little bit faster than all of the 3 THD cores, and that's when they really have to start pushing down these towers and try to make something happen. Because late game, up against a farm Silencer as well as the Meepo, it could be problematic. Although, I'm not sure if it's as straight a win for them, as I think the teamfight advantage is still slightly in the favor of K-Stars, despite having a Centaur Brew on the enemy team.
Yep, and we had the next set of runes spawning. Actually, Vengeful Spirit is gonna get that bounty rune top while the Sand King... Oh, but in the mid we have a go, and the Brewmaster is going down now. Timber Chain and out of range of that Vengeful Spirit. Again, Vengeful Spirit just too slow. Maybe the investment in boots would have been nice, but apparently no, that didn't work out. So 2-0 for Keith here. That really looks good.
It definitely does. Bottom lane is having a great time, as is the Timbersaw, and a Timbersaw that gets off to a good start is incredibly scary. Having the constant mana to keep on spamming out your spells, just being able to roam around with those early levels that he's been able to get. He's currently level 7, and honestly, at 7 minutes in the game, that's all a Timbersaw can want, and he can consecutively go for these kills. And, I don't know, there's really nobody that's immune to this. Despite most of their heroes not being strength heroes, they still take a truckload of damage. Vestius is... yeah.
And talking about truckload of damage and who gets it, this tower is definitely getting it. Terrorblade is gonna get the first tier 1 tower this game. So, yeah, this Metamorphosis, it's just too strong. But also too strong might be the stun that's coming right now. Only Posa with the doo-doo-doo Sandstorm, and yeah, the silence is coming out, but I don't think they're gonna get it. This is just right-clicking him down. At the same time, we had the Terrorblade just killed for his insolence. He got the tier 1 tower, but he had to die for it. This combination of Brewmaster, Venge, and Centaur finished his life.
Yeah, and with the advantage that they'd gotten in the earlier portions of the game, just farming very well in the Terrorblade, that actually feeds quite a large bounty. The way of THD, they just chain stunned him to oblivion. There wasn't much else about it. Yuka doesn't have mana for his ultimate. He does have a couple of stick charges. That won't be enough, and, well...
But still, look at the Brewmaster, how much damage he gets. I mean, like, Strength Heroes and everything, anyway, vulnerable against Timbersaw, and the Timbersaw being pretty much full HP, reactive armor, new runes are coming. Top, the Timbersaw is gonna get it for sure. This is a bounty one. Oh, but bottom one. This might be actually an interesting rune because it's an invisibility rune on an initiation hero. So the blinks are already coming, but let's see where that Vengeful Spirit is going. At the moment, scouting jungle.
And we'll find a stack, which isn't useless, but Sand King is probably going to take it before Meepo can even think about it. Speaking of the Meepo, he's not incredibly far behind, but this still isn't the fastest jungle farm that I've seen. He's now at level 6, and his farm acceleration should be quite a bit larger than this. I think he could have been a little bit more efficient with the way that he's stacking the jungles and whatnot. He is going to go
look at this. Vengeful Spirit, she's still invisible, but they're not gonna go for the Terrorblade. Even though a Terrorblade is such an easy target to kill. Like, all you have to do on that hero is pretty much stun him. And that's it. Because he's coming with pretty much no HP, but nope, they're going back, so this invisibility rune not used at all.
Yeah. To be fair, Terrorblade is Rock and Abracer as well as Aquila and Power Treads, and if he switches those over to Strength, he's not as papery as before, but Magic Missile and Hoof Stomp Double Edge will secure his kill 99% of the time, unless their chain stuns off and he can get off the Sunder, but even then, not even guaranteed. Let's see, it's a missed opportunity, I think, for THD. I think we could probably have gone for that one. Vestius is going to be salved up on one of his Meepos. This Meepo hasn't made any aggressive rotations, which isn't really his fault. Meepo can't do that much, especially when we're talking about Timbersaw, but with the Magic Missile as well as the Boulder Toss as well as the Split, they're going to have plenty of damage to bring him down. Global Silence was committed for this. Not sure if it was entirely necessary, but it will secure the kill on the Timber.
Yeah, they're like, what we got it. That's pretty much it. But I was actually kind of surprised that this silence was ready again. Like, because he used it when he was ganked, and it's already been like 130 seconds. The 2 minutes cooldown, approximately 2 minute cooldown on that ultimate was ready again. So the timing was right, and yeah, they just used it. But still, it doesn't make too much of a difference. I mean, that Timbersaw, of course, was a high value target just because, yeah, mid-hero, a lot of HP and whatnot. Still, like, this game, THD, I don't know, this Meepo, this was pretty much his first action, but he gets momentum. He's gonna stay in that jungle. It really looks like one of those pub games when, like, one of them is just, you know, diving the jungle, never coming out until he's, like, 6 slotted. And to be honest, I mean, THD won't care too much about, like, a tier 1 tower lost here and there, as long as they're not going high ground whatsoever, and that Meepo can farm. I'm quite surprised that he didn't go for, like, for a Vladimir's or anything like that, because with that Vladimir's, he had enough sustain, plus, of course, the team utility, to stay forever in this jungle. And leech up, that's it.
Yeah. I really don't like Vladimir's on Meepo if you're going to be going for this. It's just going to delay your impact. Like, the Blink would allow you to fight a lot more effectively, as would just going for the straight Aghanims. As nice as it would be to have him just AFK in the jungle, I think his plan is going to be to get that third Meepo, and then to start going for action like they're going up on top of the Leposa. Eats the brunt of an Epicenter Blur Strike initiation. Showing off that Blink Dagger, they're going to find an easy kill on this Silencer. Nothing he could do to react.
Yeah, I was actually looking here in the mid because they want to go, but do they know which one is the right one? Oh my god, yeah, Brewmaster. No, after the Magic Missile, he's gonna find it. That's the slow, but no mana for the Thunder. I can't even believe it. There's no mana for the Thunder. Even the PT infrets won't change it, and now Timber, he's directly in mid of the action. The center is actually going down as collateral damage. Now the Vengeful has to die, and oh my god, this is a team wipe. We are looking at a team wipe for THD.
They lose their Terrorblade, but they get absolutely everything on top of it. Yep. The Meepo shows his face, he dies, he probably should have just stayed in the jungle. The Timbersaw doing so much damage. He chained through at least 3 people with the Whirling Death going on, and then the Chakram, and they were already down to below half on everybody. And then it was easy cleanup from there.
By the way, the only hero who could have prevented this massacre was the Silencer, but he got ganked shortly before, so by the time this massacre happened, Like, he still had 3 seconds on his respawn timer, because that silence, that global silence, that would have done the trick. That would have just prevented a lot of kills, like maybe 2 or 3 even, but this way. And the scary thing is, this Timbersaw, the damage he does, it's insane. And this wasn't even level 11 Timbersaw, where we have a level 2 Chakram or anything like that, but oh god, they smoke. They want to find someone, and Meepo is the one. Look at it, Chakram, Mystic Flare, so much. Even the silence is coming out, but this was pretty much, yeah, in vain.
It really was, and without that silence, it's going to be very hard for them to survive up against this damage. They still have a Ravage available, and I don't know, K-Stars, they can just keep on pushing down these towers with very little fear of the enemy team. THD, they have a Blink Dagger on their center, which is nice, but just one blinking hero, is it going to be enough to stop this? The tier 1 tower up in top is for sure going to fall.
Yep.
They might even be
curious if they use the cliff or not. It's another team that, forgets to use the cliff. It's like we see this the last 2 weeks pretty much. Like, since 6.82, we have still some teams who are not used to the latest patch. They just lost the mid-tier 1 tower, which means the cliff got reset. On that tower they actually used it, but now they didn't use it, which means they just gave Keed a lot of valuable time. They could have just slowed him down a bit, then still have a cliff for the tier 2 tower. But no, THD completely forgot it. And we actually, in the first game we saw today, we also had Union Gaming missing a cliff on the last Rex standing. On the last Rex. They just missed it in the heat of the battle. They just missed it.
Very unfortunate. Timbersaw is backed off for a lot of intermediate items in the Magic Wand, as well as the Urn, Bottle, Stout Shield, and what have you, but he's still getting dangerously close to that Bloodstone. If they take a couple more towers or they get a couple more kills, Timbersaw is going to have that completed at a very respectable timing. So even though his BKB is going to be a little bit delayed, it's not going to be delayed by that much. Yeah, tier 2 tower up in top is going to be glyphed this time, so maybe they were just expecting them to continue pushing, but it is tier 1 tower and would have refreshed it anyway. Definitely a mistake. They are going to jump in. Yuko looking for the collapse split. He's going to be able to get it off, but Timberchain away. I'm not sure they can actually chase much with this. They're going to throw the Terrorblade up in the air. They find the Blink initiation onto YCS on the sideline. Chakram trying to survive. He's taking very little damage on the sidelines as they are going to throw the epicenter initiation on the backlines, blowing up Meepo. And now the right clicks are too much for Jubilee to stand up against. That's a double kill, a triple kill for your Terrorblade. Now they're chasing forward. Chakram still onto Gui. A long range bro strike, blowing him up with the Scarlet Mage ulti. And now Leposa, the only one standing. An absolute massacre again. Sand King is going to die in the backlines. I think just to tower shots, but they slow down Leposa. They're not stopping. They probably should, and they will eventually. But tier 2 tower down, a huge teamfight win again for K-Stars.
Yep, it's a 1-for-4 trade with a tier 2 tower as like pretty much the icing on the cake. The Silencer actually got the SK kill, right click with Clive of Wisdom, plus the last word was on the SK, and sure, that gave the Silencer his first stacks, by the way, like stolen intelligence, but in 15 minutes really the first one. But I don't know, THD, I mean, they're planning for a longer game. They're planning to go greedy with a Silencer, go in Midas with a Meepo as some sort of like second core, but I mean, this Terrorblade got Radiance ready. The Meepo in comparison does not have much. Where do we have him here? Main Meepo, just having an Orca Club. I think that was even a panic buy before he died, and it's just not working at the moment for THD.
Yeah, this is a fast Radiance if you straight up rushed it, but he went for Aquila, Bracer, as well as Power Treads before, not to mention just the other small items.
Yeah.
Like, this Radiance is incredibly scary. He has a decent amount of HP to back it up, and those illusions are just going to tear through THD. He's going to have the Tidehunter as well as Sand King Timbersaw on the front lines to wreak havoc, and then if this teamfight lasts for more than 30 seconds, everybody's just going to die from Radiance burn.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you said it right. Like, this is a fast Radiance if you go directly, but we looked at a 14 or 13 minutes Radiance with Bracers, ready PTs, Pullman Shield, and the Aquila, and of course, just for the laning, he even had like a Quelling Plate at the start. So this Terrorblade, he's really a happy fella. Like, that one death he had, like, he doesn't care, because he got, that's gonna be his second tower, and yeah, he's gonna be so big.
Full Yasha on top of it, well on his way towards a Manta style. I don't think there's any stopping this Terrorblade. You talked about a late game scenario where everybody on the side of THD gets farm versus Terrorblade. That's completely out of the window because Terrorblade's the only one on this map that actually matters as far as carry is concerned.
Look at his
and then
net
you have
worth.
yeah.
It's not even funny.
No.
The difference, the silencer is the top farmer at the moment for THD with 6.1k, and we have double the amount on this Terrorplate, and now it's actually starting to get real. I mean, now we see him farming. The next 10 minutes, he's probably gonna, I don't know, double that net worth, even more. I can't even, I don't even know where to start. With every illusion, he can farm his entire jungle, at least 2 lanes, and when he gets the Manta, even more. This is not funny for THD. They really have to come up with something.
Yeah. It's really not, especially since Leposa went for Midas. That's 2,000 gold of his net worth that actually doesn't benefit him that much. The 30 attack speed is better on Silencer than a lot of other heroes that go for Midas, but it doesn't do anything. It's, I don't know, THD, hold high ground and hope for a miracle, if they can even do that.
Yeah. I mean, high ground, to be honest, I mean, he doesn't have, like, the best, like, hey guys, we just go high ground and that's it. I mean, there's still Panda buying sometimes, silence, etc., etc., and of course the protection by a tier 3 tower. Like, it depends how good of an initiation we find by the Tidehunter and the SK, but both of them have a Blink Dagger, so none of the heroes of THD have a BKB. That means, like, that Tidehunter, if he finds the initiation, and we have a Sand King on top of it doing his stuff, plus of course Chakram as well, I just don't see THD surviving this.
Tier 2 tower is going to fall. In the meantime, you do get the Silencer kill up in top. The Sand King and Skywrath Mage can solo kill anybody when they combo together, and they probably don't even have to use ultimates at this point. And for the next 20 minutes, I think that's going to maintain the case. Like, Meepo's not going to tank up enough. Heck, even the Centaur is nowhere near getting those tanky items, and they're just going to go high ground with the rest of Metamorphosis. It's daring THG to do anything, and I don't think there's much that they can do.
Yep. They use the cliff right now. It's 14 and 4, 20 minutes in, and at 20 minutes, I think they're confident enough to go high ground, but at the moment it seems like they're just going back. We have Vestios at the moment starting to sort of split push, but he went for a PT build, so he can't even TP around at the moment and like be some sort of nuisance. We have the illusions of Terrorplate just pushing forward. I was actually thinking they fall back and go for Roshan. That would have been for me the logical choice, because I don't think THD could have contested it, or just with a lot of losses.
Yeah, Vestius is going to go for a Blink Dagger on top of it, so his Aghanim Scepter is going to be incredibly delayed. I think this Blink is kind of a necessary evil. If he doesn't go for it, how is he going to get kills? And then again, if he goes for it, how is he going to get kills?
But if he poofs in somewhere, like if he poofs right now in somewhere, then that's bad news. But oh, look at this! Oh, Santa is gonna miss his Hoofstorm. That was a pretty much a half a centimeter blink, because they were next to each other, but at the same time in the cast animation of Hoofstorm blink out by the Sand King. So easy going there, and of course nicely scouted. Still, like back to the Meepo. Like right now, as it stands, if he blinks and poofs in somewhere, he's gonna die within the next second, so he can only hope he just gets a kill on, I don't know, SK and Skywrath Mage. These are like the most, vulnerable targets at the moment with 1k and 1.1k HP. But I don't even think that's enough, even with all Meepos.
Yeah, even if he had all of the Meepos on top of them before he poofed, that's 140 times 6 damage. That's not going to instantly kill the Skywrath, and he needs to instantly kill the Skywrath. And he's not going to be able to do so. With the Blink Dagger combo is going to be to poof your secondary Meepos to your main one, and then jump in. So it's only going to be about 520 burst damage, and that's mitigated by magic resistance as well. So it's hardly going to hurt the Skywrath Mage. If he has any backup at all, the Meepo's dead. If the Skywrath Mage is solo and he can chase him around and net him, but that's going to give them time for K-Stars to react. And if there's any time for them to react, the Meepo's going to die as well. It's just not a happy game to be a Meepo.
No, not just a Meepo. Like being a THD player overall, like this game, it really had a horrible start. But while they might head for Roshan as the blinks are coming out, we're looking at the graphs the first time. We are 22 minutes in, guys. Here it's 14 and 4. Keith versus THD. THD really on the back foot. 7.5k as they start Roshan. It's Terrorblade alone at the moment, but yeah, the team is coming in for support. Looking at the gold graph, and this is not even funny. Like, it never ever went in the direction of THD. It's a straight growth towards the 15k, with Roshan a tiny bit more. And to be honest, equipped with that Aegis, Keith has all the choices they want to. Go in high ground or farming even more. I was talking already about it. Now we have like 15, almost 16k. Now it's 16k with the Lancet on Roshan, compared to a 8k on this on the Silencer, the highest farm of THD. So he's doubling up that farm.
Yeah. Terrorblade at this point could go for any item that he wants to. I think he could just go for like a Scotty if he wants to play it safe, but honestly, anything is going to do the trick, really. As long as it makes Terrorblade hit harder or survive longer, which is pretty much anything. Maybe Dagon's a little bit too ballsy, or Divine Rapier, but other than that, I think any item in the shop. Up to the tier 3s they're going to go. Metamorphosis is popped, he's hitting like a truck, and that tier 3 tower is not long for this world. With an Aegis, he actually doesn't care about anything that they're throwing at him, and if they throw everything at him, they might be able to kill him once, but let alone twice. And now the Ravage comes out in the backlines to get 2 instantly and jump through with the Burrow Strike as well as the Terrorblade. They jump in with the Split. Split's going to be pretty good, but now they're just going to focus down the other heroes. Jublu's going to die. Now Vestius is going to poof in his Meepos as the Vengeful Spirit's going to fall, or will she? She will survive on very low HP, but the Meepo's not so lucky. Buyback on the Centaur as the Brewmaster just can't do anything with this ultimate. There is going to be a Whiffed Epicenter that lands onto literally nothing with the exception of the Magic Immune Brewlings. He's going to come back to himself as the Burrow Strike lands into both of them. They are going to defensively swap his Gooey's just going to be thrown into the frying, or out of the frying pan into the fire as Jublu is brought down almost by the Arcane Bolt. One more gush will secure his demise. Yuka the only survivor, and GG, well played, coming out from
GG,
THD.
well played. Like, for this game we waited so long, 23 minutes, THD finds a very, very timely demise, and Keith, I have no idea who they are, but they played very well. Their draft, their idea of the game just went through, and THD, from laning to this, that was not much. And did they say GG?
They did.
But apparently did not, I don't know, finish it. Admin, poor network conditions have been detected. What? Are you serious?
I suppose so. Okay, well, that seems to be it. It looks like it's just going to be the exact opposite of what we saw last game. The draft looked like it would be a lot of fun to watch, but in the end, it's just a really straightforward win for K-Stars.
Okay, it seems like the Tidehunter is online, but not really online after all, so... Guys, I can't show you stats on this game because apparently it's not gonna finish, or maybe I stay here till it is finished, but then again, Mr. Center is not disconnecting, so it's not gonna end that way either. Either way, THD loses this game 19 and 5, 25 minutes here in, and what a game. We are back with the next game that is, and now I actually have to look up. It should be already on the ticker. Yeah, it's gonna be NOT versus, not today, I mean, of course, versus INS Esport. INS Esport is the second unknown team for me in this tournament, pretty much. So, let's see how they play. For not today, definitely a good experience and performance on them. Like, they surprised in a lot of tournaments, so let's see where this is going. My name is HeflaTV, casting with me is Grandis, and we are back for the next game then, in, I hope, just some minutes.